Daesung stared at the flickering screen in his cramped captain's quarters. The numbers looked too good to be real. 50,000 credits just for retrieving a cargo pod from an abandoned station. He read the message 3 more times, searching for the catch. There had to be one. Nobody paid that much for simple salvage work. The iron crane groaned around him as it drifted through the Tailron system. His ship was old, covered in patches and jury-rigged repairs. Every jump through faster-than-light space cost him money he didn't have. The creditors were closing in. 3 more months and they would take his ship. 3 months and he would lose everything. You're thinking about taking it? Hyun-woo leaned against the doorframe, his arms crossed. He had known Daesung since they were kids playing in the streets of Busan. That meant he could read every expression on his friend's face. 50,000 credits, Daesung said quietly. From an encrypted source. No name. No company registration. Just coordinates and a promise of money. Hyun-woo shook his head. This smells wrong. Everything smells wrong when you're broke. Daesung closed the message and stood up. His knees ached. He was only 32 but felt older. Space had a way of aging people fast. We need this job. We need to not get killed, Hyun-woo countered. Remember the last mystery job? We almost lost the ship to pirates. Daesung remembered. He also remembered the debt that job had left them with. This is different. It's just salvage. In and out. Simple. When is it ever simple? Ji-won appeared behind Hyun-woo, wiping grease from her hands with an old rag. Are we talking about the stupid job offer? She had been listening through the ship's internal comm system. Privacy didn't exist on a vessel this small. I'm considering it, Daesung admitted. Then, I'm reminding you that the reactor needs new coolant cells. We're running at 70% efficiency. One more bad jump and we'll be floating dead in space. Ji-won's voice was flat and matter-of-fact. She never sugar-coated anything. 50,000 would cover that and more. See? Daesung looked at Hyun-woo. Even Ji-won agrees. I didn't say I agreed. I said we need the money. Those are different things. She pushed past Hyun-woo and studied the coordinates on the screen. This station is in the middle of nowhere. No nearby traffic lanes. No colonies. No rescue if something goes wrong. Which is why they need someone to retrieve their cargo, Daesung said. He was already making up his mind. The fear in his gut was real, but the fear of losing his ship was bigger. Hyun-woo sighed. You're going to do this no matter what we say. I'm the captain. It's my decision. Daesung tried to sound confident. But, I value your opinions. Both of you. Then, here's my opinion, Ji-won said. If we're doing this, we go in prepared. Full weapons check. Suits ready. And, we don't open anything until I scan it completely. Agreed, Daesung said. They jumped to the coordinates 2 days later. The abandoned research station appeared on their sensors like a ghost. It orbited a dead moon, silent and dark. The structure was massive, far larger than a typical research outpost. Strange symbols covered its hull, a mixture of human letters and something else. Something alien. I'm not reading any power signatures, Hyun-woo reported from the co-pilot seat. No life signs. No heat. It's completely dead. Then, why does it look so intact? Ji-won's voice crackled over the comm from the engine room. Abandoned stations get torn apart by scavengers. This one looks like everyone just walked away yesterday. Daesung guided the iron crane closer. His hands were steady on the controls despite the unease crawling up his spine. Maybe they did walk away. Maybe there was an emergency evacuation. Without taking anything. Look at those docking ports. Ships still attached. Hyunwoo pointed at the screen. Those are expensive vessels. Nobody abandons that much hardware. Unless they were running from something, Ji-won added helpfully. You two are not helping, Daesung muttered. He brought the iron crane alongside a docking port. The seal connected with a hiss and a clang. Suits on. We go together. The interior of the station was pristine. Emergency lights cast everything in red shadows. Their boots echoed on metal floors. Every door they passed was sealed properly. Every corridor was clean. It looked like a facility in standby mode, not an abandoned wreck. This is really creepy, Hyunwoo whispered. Stop whispering, Ji-won said at normal volume, making him jump. If something's here, it already knows we're here. They followed the station's directory to the main laboratory section. The cargo pod was exactly where the contract said it would be. It sat in the center of a large chamber, surrounded by equipment Daesung didn't recognize. Warning symbols covered every surface. He couldn't read most of them, but the universal danger signs were clear enough. I'm scanning, Ji-won said. She moved around the pod with a handheld device. Strange. I'm getting energy readings but no power source. Like it's generating its own field. Can we move it? Daesung asked. The question is, should we move it? She kept scanning. These warnings aren't just about danger. Some of these are quarantine symbols. Biohazard markers. This isn't cargo. This is a container for something living. Daesung felt his stomach drop. The contract said cargo pod. The contract lied, Hyunwoo said. We should leave. Right now. But, Daesung was already thinking about the money. About his ship. About the creditors. He stepped closer to the control panel next to the pod. Let me just see what we're dealing with. Don't touch anything. Ji-won shouted. Too late. Daesung's finger brushed a button. The button glowed blue. Then, the entire panel lit up. Alien text scrolled across screens. The pod began to hum. Frost on its surface started to melt, dripping onto the floor. What did you do? Hyunwoo grabbed his arm. I don't know. I barely touched it. Daesung backed away. The pod split open with a sound like breaking ice. White vapor poured out, filling the chamber with cold mist. Through the fog, Daesung saw a crystalline chamber rising from inside the pod. And, inside that chamber was a woman. She looked human. Mostly. Her skin was pale, almost glowing in the red emergency lights. She wore a strange suit that seemed to shift colors. Her eyes were closed. Long black hair floated around her face as if she was underwater. Is she alive? Hyunwoo whispered. The crystalline chamber cracked. Lines spread across its surface. Then, it shattered, pieces falling away like glass. The woman fell forward. Daesung caught her instinctively. She was ice cold in his arms. Her eyes opened. For a moment they were normal brown eyes. Then, they shifted. Purple. Then, hints of red. She looked at Daesung and spoke in perfect Korean. Thank you for freeing me. Then, she collapsed, unconscious in his arms, as alarms began wailing throughout the station. The woman was light in Daesung's arms as he carried her back to the iron crane. Too light for someone her size. Hyunwoo ran ahead, clearing their path. Ji-won stayed behind them, her weapon drawn and ready. The station alarms continued screaming, but nothing else moved in the red-lit corridors. They sealed the airlock behind them and Ji-won immediately started the undocking sequence. We need to leave. Now. Medical bay first, Daesung said. He rushed through the narrow corridors to their small medical room. It was barely more than a closet with a bed and some basic equipment. He laid the woman down carefully. Her eyes remained closed but, her chest rose and, fell with shallow breaths. Up close, Daesung could see her skin wasn't just pale. It had an odd quality, like it was reflecting light that wasn't there. Her lips were almost white. "We're clear of the station," Ji-won's voice came through the speakers. "Jumping to safe distance." The ship shuddered as they moved away. Daesung pulled a blanket over the woman and, stepped back. "Run a full medical scan." "Already doing it," Hyunwoo said. He had activated the medical computer. "This is going to take a few minutes." "Who is she?" "I don't know." Daesung rubbed his face. The contract didn't mention anything about a person. "Because kidnapping is illegal," Ji-won said. She appeared in the doorway, still holding her weapon. "We just participated in human trafficking. Or alien trafficking. I can't tell which yet." "We didn't know," Daesung protested. "That defense works great in court. Right before they take your ship and, throw you in prison." Ji-won's expression was hard. "We need to contact the authorities." "And, tell them what?" "That we took a mystery job and, found a mystery woman. They'll impound the ship during the investigation. We'll lose everything anyway." Daesung knew she was right, but, the fear of losing his ship overrode everything else. The woman's eyes opened. All three of them jumped back. She sat up slowly, looking around the medical bay with confusion. When she spoke, her Korean was flawless. "Where am I?" "Our ship," Daesung said carefully. He kept his hand near his sidearm. "Who are you?" "My name is Hae-rin." She touched her face with trembling fingers. "How long was I in stasis?" "We don't know. We found you in that station. Can you tell us what happened to you?" Hae-rin's expression became pained. She looked down at her hands. "I was part of an experiment. A research program studying biological enhancement through alien DNA integration. Something went wrong. The other test subjects became violent. They had to seal the facility. They left you there." Hyunwoo sounded horrified. "They said they would come back. They said it was temporary." Hae-rin's voice cracked with emotion. "How long has it been?" The medical computer beeped. Hyunwoo glanced at the screen and, his eyes widened. "The scan is showing some unusual readings. Your cellular structure is partially non-human. And, your body temperature is well below normal." "Side effects of the enhancement process," Hae-rin said quickly. "I told you. They mixed human DNA with alien samples. I'm still human. Mostly." Daesung studied her face. Everything about her story sounded reasonable. Corporate experiments gone wrong were common in the outer systems. The authorities didn't care what happened far from Earth. "Do you need medical attention?" "I need rest. And, probably food." Hae-rin stood up slowly. Her movements were graceful, too graceful. "Thank you for rescuing me. I thought I would die in that chamber." "We should get you to a proper medical facility," Ji-won said. Her weapon was still in her hand. "No." Hae-rin's voice was sharp. Then, softer. "Please. If you take me to authorities, they'll hand me back to the company. I'll become a lab specimen again. Please don't." Daesung saw genuine fear in her eyes. He made a decision he knew he might regret. "You can stay. For now. Until we figure this out." Ji-won gave him a look that could melt steel. "Captain, can I speak with you?" "Privately." They left Hyunwoo with Hae-rin and, moved to the corridor. Ji-won grabbed Daesung's arm. "Are you insane? We know nothing about her. Those medical readings are seriously abnormal. She's scared and, alone," Daesung said. "What would you want someone to do if you were in her position?" "I want to survive. And, I want my ship to survive. This woman is trouble. 24 hours, Daesung said. Give me 24 hours to contact the mystery client and find out what's really going on. Then, we'll decide. Ji-won shook her head but didn't argue further. She knew when Daesung made up his mind. Over the next day, Hae-rin proved herself surprisingly helpful. She seemed to know a lot about ship systems. When Hyun-woo struggled with a navigation error, she showed him a fix that worked perfectly. When Ji-won mentioned the reactor coolant issue, Hae-rin suggested a modification that increased efficiency by 5%. How do you know so much about ships? Hyun-woo asked over dinner. He had prepared a simple meal. Hae-rin hadn't touched her food. The research facility had ships. I learned during my time there. Hae-rin smiled. It was a beautiful smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. I had a lot of time to study. Daesung noticed she never ate. She pushed food around her plate but never took a bite. He also noticed she avoided the bright lights in the common area, preferring to sit in the dimmer corners. And, when she passed the polished metal walls, her reflection seemed slightly off. Delayed, like it took an extra second to catch up with her movements. The encrypted message came that evening. The mystery client demanded immediate delivery of the package to coordinates in the Helion station. The payment would be transferred upon delivery. Hae-rin had been sleeping in the small guest quarters. But, she appeared in the cockpit just as the message finished playing. You're not going to deliver me, are you? Daesung turned to find her standing in the doorway. You were listening. I hear well. She moved closer. Please. That person who sent you, they're part of the organization that imprisoned me. If you deliver me, I'll disappear forever. Experimented on until I die. How do you know that? Daesung asked. Because I recognize the encryption signature on that message. It's the same one the research facility used. Her eyes were pleading. I know you need money. I know this job was supposed to save your ship. But, please don't do this. I'm a person. Not cargo. Something in her voice made Daesung's decision for him. I won't deliver you. The client will be angry, Hyun-woo warned. Let them be angry. We keep the advance payment and disappear for a while. Daesung sent a message back declining the delivery. We'll figure out another way to save the ship. Hae-rin's expression flooded with relief. Thank you. You don't know what this means to me. Get some rest, Daesung said. We'll plot a course away from here in the morning. That night, Daesung couldn't sleep. Something about Hae-rin bothered him. Her story was perfect. Too perfect. He got up and walked through the quiet ship. Everyone else was asleep. He heard a noise in the cargo bay. Soft sounds, like someone moving carefully. Daesung grabbed his sidearm and moved quietly toward the sound. The cargo bay was dark except for a single emergency light. In its red glow, Daesung saw Hae-rin standing over Hyun-woo's unconscious body. His friend was slumped against a storage container. And, there was blood on Hae-rin's lips. Step away from him, Daesung said, raising his weapon. Hae-rin turned slowly. Her eyes were no longer brown. They glowed crimson in the darkness. Her teeth were sharp and white. I'm sorry you had to see this. What are you? Daesung's hand shook but he kept the gun pointed at her. Exactly what you think I am. Hae-rin raised her hands slowly. Blood dripped from her fingers. But, I'm not going to hurt him. Or you. I just needed to feed. You're a vampire, Daesung said. The word sounded insane. That's your word for it. We call ourselves Velathri. She looked sad. And, you just saved one of the most hunted creatures in the galaxy. Daesung kept his weapon pointed at Hae-rin. His finger rested on the trigger. Years of salvage work in dangerous space had taught him to shoot first and ask questions later. But something made him hesitate. Maybe it was the sadness in her glowing eyes. Maybe it was the way she hadn't moved to attack him. "Check if Hyun-woo is alive," Daesung said, his voice steady despite his racing heart. Hae-rin knelt slowly beside his friend. She placed 2 fingers on his neck. "His pulse is strong. I only took what I needed to survive. He'll wake up with a headache and feel tired for a day. Nothing permanent." "You drank his blood?" "Yes." Hae-rin stood up, keeping her movements slow and non-threatening. "My species needs living essence to survive. Blood carries that essence. Without it, we die slowly over weeks. It's painful." "You lied to us," Daesung said. "Everything you told us was a lie." "Not everything. The research station was a trap. Bounty hunters created it to capture me. They planned to sell me to collectors who pay enormous amounts for rare species." Hae-rin's crimson eyes began to fade back to brown. "The person who hired you was another hunter trying to complete the capture. How do I know you're telling the truth now?" "You don't. But I'm still standing here talking instead of attacking you. Doesn't that tell you something?" Hae-rin moved away from Hyun-woo, giving Daesung a clear line of fire. "If I wanted to hurt you, I could have done it already. I'm much faster than humans. Prove you're not dangerous. Tell me everything." Hae-rin sat down on a cargo container. Her posture was relaxed but Daesung kept his gun ready. She began to speak in a quiet voice. "The Velathri were once numerous. We had cities on 3 worlds. We were explorers and knowledge keepers. But we needed to feed on other species to survive, and that made us feared. When the Galactic War came, the other species decided we were too dangerous to exist. They hunted us to near extinction. How many of you are left? I don't know. Hundreds maybe. We scattered across the galaxy, hiding wherever we could. Some of us went into stasis, hoping future generations would be more accepting." Her expression became bitter. "Instead, we became valuable. Rare specimens for collectors and research facilities. Worth more dead than alive. Why should I believe any of this? Because you've seen how your galaxy treats things it doesn't understand. You're human. Your species is new to interstellar space. You're already learning how the strong prey on the weak out here." Hae-rin looked directly at him. "That's why I found your species interesting. Humans are weak compared to most galactic species. No natural armor, no enhanced strength, short lifespans. But you survive anyway through creativity and compassion." Hyun-woo groaned. His eyes fluttered open. "What happened?" "Stay still," Daesung said, not taking his eyes off Hae-rin. Hyun-woo touched his neck. His fingers came away with blood. He looked at Hae-rin and his face went white. You bit me." "I'm sorry," Hae-rin said softly. "I was dying. I needed to feed or I would have lost control completely. This way was gentler." "Gentler?" Hyun-woo scrambled backward. "You're a monster." "Hyun-woo, calm down," Daesung said. "Are you hurt? Can you move?" "I'm fine. Just weak." Hyun-woo managed to stand, using the wall for support. "What is she?" Daesung explained quickly what Hae-rin had told him. Hyun-woo listened with growing horror. "We need to tell Ji-won." Ji-won's voice came from the doorway. "Tell Ji-won what?" She held a heavy wrench in one hand. "I heard noise." "What's going on?" "Our guest is a vampire," Daesung said bluntly. Ji-won looked at Hae-rin. Then, at Hyun-woo's bloody neck. Then, back at Daesung. "We're spacing her." "Wait," Daesung said. "There's no wait." She attacked Hyun-woo. She's dangerous. We open the airlock and, she goes out. Problem solved. Ji-won's voice was cold and practical. She could have killed him, Dae-sung argued. She didn't. She showed restraint. Restraint? She fed on our crew member. Because she was starving, Hae-rin said. And, I apologized. Oh, you apologized. That makes it all better. Ji-won advanced with the wrench. Give me one good reason not to cave in your skull right now. Hae-rin stood up. I can give you several. First, I'm stronger and faster than you. If I wanted to fight, you wouldn't win. Second, I have knowledge about technologies your species hasn't discovered yet. Third, those bounty hunters are coming for me and, when they arrive, they won't care about your ship or crew. You need my help to survive. She's right about the hunters, Dae-sung said. When we refused the delivery, we made ourselves targets. Then, we run, Ji-won said. Where? Hae-rin asked. They have military-grade sensors and faster ships. You can't outrun them in this vessel. No offense. Lots taken, Ji-won muttered. Dae-sung lowered his weapon. Here's what we're going to do. Hae-rin, you're going to help us survive whatever's coming. In exchange, we'll help you reach somewhere safe. Somewhere away from hunters. That's insane, Ji-won said. That's the deal, Dae-sung said firmly. Hyun-woo, can you walk? Yes. Hyun-woo was still pale but, standing on his own. Good. Get to medical bay and, check yourself. Ji-won, prep the ship for possible combat. Hae-rin, you're with me. We need to know exactly what we're facing. They gathered in the cockpit. Hae-rin explained the bounty hunter networks and, how they operated. She described their weapons and, tactics. She knew far too much about being hunted. How long until they arrive? Dae-sung asked. They were probably tracking the station. When you opened my chamber, it sent an alert. They'll be here in hours, not days. Can we fight them? Not directly. They have superior firepower. Hae-rin studied the ship's systems on the main screen. But, they also have predictable strategies. They follow military protocols. Humans don't. What do you mean? Hyun-woo had returned from medical bay, looking slightly better. I've watched your species for years from hiding. Humans do things other species consider insane. You take risks that seem suicidal. You improvise when all logic says you should surrender. Hae-rin smiled slightly. That unpredictability is your greatest weapon. So your plan is for us to act crazy? Ji-won said. My plan is for you to be human. That's usually crazy enough. The ship sensors detected incoming vessels before they finished planning. 3 ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of scanner range. Military configurations. Heavy weapons. They broadcast on all frequencies. Salvage vessel Iron Crane, this is the hunter ship Starlight's End. You are harboring illegal cargo. Surrender the Velathri and, you will be compensated and, released. Refuse and, you will be destroyed along with it. The voice was female, cold and, professional. Dae-sung recognized the tone of someone who had made this speech many times before. That's Boare, Hae-rin said. She's one of the most successful hunters. Ruthless and, efficient. Great, Ji-won muttered. We're going to die. Not if we think like humans, Dae-sung said. An idea was forming in his mind. A terrible, dangerous idea. But, maybe terrible and, dangerous was exactly what they needed. Hae-rin, can you survive in vacuum? For short periods. Why? Because I have a plan. And, it's absolutely insane. Dae-sung smiled grimly. Which means they'll never see it coming. The 3 hunter ships moved into formation, surrounding the iron crane. They expected surrender or a futile escape attempt. They didn't expect what was about to happen. Because they weren't human. And, they didn't understand what humans were capable of when cornered. Daesung looked at his crew gathered in the cockpit. Hyunwoo still pale from blood loss. Ji-won angry and skeptical. Hae-rin watching him with those unsettling eyes. 3 hunter ships surrounded them with enough firepower to turn the iron crane into debris. He was about to propose something that might kill them all. Listen carefully, Daesung said. The iron crane was originally a mining vessel before I bought her. She has a reinforced prow designed for breaking through asteroid rock. It's outdated and we never use it. But, it's still there. You want to ram them, Ji-won said flatly. That's your plan. Ramming. Part of the plan. Hae-rin, you said you can survive in vacuum. Can you move in space? Yes. Without air resistance and, in low gravity, I'm very fast. But, I need to have fed recently to maintain strength. Hae-rin glanced at Hyunwoo. Sorry. It's fine, Hyunwoo said weakly. Apparently I'm premium fuel. The hunters will expect us to either run or surrender, Daesung continued. They won't expect an assault. G1, can you create an electromagnetic pulse using our reactor? Maybe. It would burn out half our systems and leave us floating dead for at least 10 minutes. Why would I do that? Because in those 10 minutes, we only need to disable 2 ships. The third will run. Daesung pulled up a tactical display. Boare contacted us. That means she's confident. Overconfident. She thinks we're typical salvagers who will fold under pressure. We are typical salvagers, G1 pointed out. No. We're humans. And, humans are too stupid to know when they're beaten. Daesung looked at each of them. Here's the full plan. We contact Boare and negotiate a prisoner transfer. We tell her we'll hand over Hae-rin if they pay us double the original contract. That greed will seem normal to them. But, we're not actually handing me over, Hae-rin said. No. During the negotiation, we'll require their ships to form a close triangular formation for the transfer. Standard procedure that won't make them suspicious. Once they're in position, Hae-rin launches herself in her ship's direction. Daesung pointed at the display. She breaches their hull and disables them from inside. While I do what? G1 asked. You trigger the electromagnetic pulse at the exact moment Hae-rin is inside their ship. It will disable all 3 vessels temporarily. But, our systems are shielded. You'll configure them to reboot faster. That's insane. The timing has to be perfect. I know. That's why it'll work. They won't expect perfect timing from panicked salvagers. Daesung turned to Hyunwoo. While they're rebooting, I'm going to ram the second ship using manual controls. Right through their engine section. Hyunwoo stared. You'll kill everyone on board. I'll aim for the engines, not the crew sections. Disable, not destroy. The goal is to make them unable to chase us. And, the third ship? Hae-rin asked. We'll see 2 of their sister ships disabled by what looks like a crew of maniacs and, we'll decide we're not worth dying for. Hunters are mercenaries. They don't take suicide missions. G1 was quiet for a long moment. Then, she laughed. It was not a happy sound. This is the dumbest plan I've ever heard. It requires perfect timing, incredible luck, and, for our guest vampire to be as good as she claims. I am, Hae-rin said simply. If anything goes wrong, we're all dead, G1 continued. We're dead anyway if we do nothing, Daesung said. At least this way we die trying. You humans really are insane, Hae-rin said. But, she was smiling. Daesung opened a channel to Boare's ship. Starlight's End, this is Iron Crane. We're willing to negotiate. Boare's face appeared on screen. She was older than Daesung expected, with hard eyes and graying hair. Smart choice. Transfer the Velathari immediately. For triple the original contract price, Daesung said. We took all the risk. We want compensation. Boare's expression didn't change. Double. And you get to keep your ship and lives. Deal. But we want the transfer done properly. Triangle formation, equal distance. We don't trust you not to shoot us the moment we hand her over. Paranoid. I respect that. Boare nodded. We'll form up. Have the creature ready in 20 minutes. The channel closed. Daesung turned to his crew. Everyone know what to do. This is crazy, Ji-won said. But, she was already moving toward engineering. Crazy is what we do best, Hyun-woo said. He was smiling despite his fear. Hae-rin placed a hand on Daesung's shoulder. Thank you. For not giving up on me. Thank me if we survive. The hunter ships moved into position. Perfect triangle formation, just as Daesung had requested. The Iron Crane positioned itself in the center. Through the cockpit window, Daesung could see all three vessels. Sleek, deadly, professional. G1, status, he said into the comm, pulse ready. But, Captain, I'm serious. This will hurt. Noted. Hae-rin, you're up. Hae-rin had changed into a tight suit that covered her entire body. She moved to the airlock. Which ship? The one Boare is on. Make it personal. With pleasure. Hae-rin's eyes flashed crimson. See you soon. She entered the airlock. Daesung waited until the hunter ships confirmed they were ready for transfer. Then, he opened the outer door. Hae-rin launched herself into space like a bullet. No suit jets, just pure muscle power. She moved so fast the hunter crews probably didn't even see her. One moment the airlock was open. The next, she was gone. Did she make it? Hyun-woo asked. Wait for it, Daesung said. He watched the tactical display. 15 seconds. 20. 30. Daesung, Ji-won's voice was tense. I need to trigger now or the timing won't work. Hold. Daesung. Hold. On the display, one of the hunter ships suddenly jerked. Then, its lights flickered. Now. Daesung shouted. Ji-won triggered the pulse. The Iron Crane systems went dark. Emergency lights kicked in. Through the window, Daesung saw the three hunter ships go completely black. No lights, no power, nothing. Hyun-woo, count, Daesung ordered. He was already strapping into the pilot's seat. 10 seconds. 9. 8. Daesung's hands hovered over the manual controls. They were old-fashioned, mechanical backups that didn't rely on computers. His father had taught him to fly using these exact controls when he was young. 3. 2. 1. The Iron Crane systems came back online. Daesung didn't wait for full power. He engaged the engines on partial charge and aimed directly at the second hunter ship. Are you sure about this? Hyun-woo gripped his seat. No. Daesung pushed the throttle forward. The Iron Crane lurched ahead. Slowly at first, then, faster. The hunter ship was still dark, still rebooting. Daesung could see crew members moving behind windows, probably panicking as they realized what was happening. He aimed for the aft section where the engines were. The reinforced prow hit with tremendous force. Metal screamed. The Iron Crane shuddered violently. Alarms blared. But, they punched through the hunter ship's hull and, out the other side. Damage report. Daesung shouted. Hull breach in cargo bay. Sealing it now. Ji-won's voice was strained. Engines at 40%. Life support stable. The hunter ship they'd rammed was spinning slowly, atmosphere venting from both ends. Dead in space but not destroyed. Daesung could see escape pods launching. Good. He hadn't wanted to kill anyone. Boare's ship suddenly came back online. Its weapons powered up. But, before it could fire, the ship jerked violently. Something inside was tearing it apart. Heirin. The third hunter ship watched all this happening. Its captain must have been having a breakdown. 2 ships disabled, one by ramming, one by something inside. The iron crane was damaged but still moving. That captain made a decision. Their ship turned and jumped to faster-than-light speed, vanishing in a flash. They ran, Hyun-woo said in disbelief. They actually ran. Told you, Daesung said. But, his hands were shaking on the controls. Boare's ship went completely dark. A moment later, Heirin appeared in one of their windows. She had torn her way to the bridge. She waved. Is she insane? Hyun-woo asked. She's Velathari, Daesung said. Apparently that's close enough. They recovered Heirin from Boare's ship. She had disabled the entire crew without killing anyone. They were alive but unconscious, with small bite marks on their necks. Boare herself was tied to her captain's chair, furious and helpless. You'll regret this, Boare spat as they left. I'll hunt you to the end of the galaxy. Get in line, Daesung said. Back on the iron crane, the crew gathered in the cockpit. They were battered, exhausted, and their ship was held together by hope and duct tape. But, they were alive. That was the stupidest thing I've ever been part of, Ji-won said. But, we won, Hyun-woo added. Heirin looked at all of them with something like wonder. You humans. You shouldn't have survived that. The odds were impossible. Humans specialize in impossible, Daesung said. A signal came through on the emergency frequency. Distress call. The language wasn't human. It was Velathari. Heirin's eyes widened. There are others. Others like me. They're calling for help. 3 weeks had passed since the fight with the hunters. The iron crane limped through space toward the coordinates from the distress signal. Ji-won had worked miracles keeping the ship running. The hull breach was patched. The engines functioned at 70%. It wasn't good, but it was enough. The crew had changed during those weeks. Hyun-woo no longer flinched when Heirin entered a room. He asked her questions about Velathari culture and technology. She taught him things about navigation that human schools didn't know. Ji-won was slower to warm up, but even she admitted that Heirin had saved their lives. And having someone who understood quantum mechanics at an advanced level was useful when fixing a ship held together by luck and prayer. Daesung watched the ice moon grow larger on their screens. It was a dead world in a forgotten system. No colonies, no trade routes, no reason for anyone to come here. Perfect for hiding. I'm detecting power signatures, Hyun-woo reported. Underground. Looks like a settlement of some kind. How many Velathari? Heirin leaned forward, her voice tight with hope and fear. Scanning. I count 47 distinct life signs with your biological markers. Hyun-woo smiled at her. You're not alone. Heirin's eyes filled with tears. Daesung had never seen her cry before. I thought I was the last. I thought everyone was dead or captured. They landed near the entrance to an underground facility. The outer airlock was old but functional. Heirin practically ran from the ship. Daesung and his crew followed more cautiously, weapons ready despite her enthusiasm. The interior was carved from ice and stone. Glowing panels provided light. It was beautiful in a cold, alien way. Velathari emerged from corridors and chambers. They stared at Hayrin with shock and joy. They stared at the humans with suspicion and fear. An older Velathari male approached. His hair was white and his eyes were a deep purple. Hayrin. Is it really you? We thought you were lost. Taeyang. Hayrin embraced him. I was in stasis. These humans freed me. Taeyang looked at Daesung with ancient, weary eyes. Humans freed a Velathari. That seems unlikely. They did more than free me. They fought hunters to protect me. They risked their lives and their ship. Hayrin gestured to the crew. This is Captain Daesung, Hyun-woo, and Ji-won. We should talk, Taeyang said. All of us. There is much to discuss. They gathered in a large chamber that served as a meeting hall. Other Velathari joined them. Daesung counted 47, just as Hyun-woo had scanned. They all looked mostly human, but with that same pale, luminescent quality to their skin. Some were children. That surprised him. Somehow he hadn't thought about vampire children. Taeyang explained their history. The Great War that nearly destroyed their species. The centuries of hiding. The constant fear of discovery. We are all that remain, he said. 47 survivors from a species that once numbered in the millions. Why doesn't the galaxy leave you alone? Ji-won asked. You're no threat to anyone. We remind them of their own guilt, Taeyang said. They committed genocide and justified it by calling us monsters. If they admit we're people, they have to admit what they did was evil. So they continue hunting us, continue calling us dangerous. It's easier than facing the truth. Daesung understood that logic. History was full of atrocities justified by fear and lies. What will you do now? Continue hiding. Continue surviving. It's all we can do. Taeyang looked tired. But, you, Captain Daesung. Why did you help Hayrin? You knew what she was. You knew the danger. Because she asked for help, Daesung said simply. Because she was a person in trouble. That's enough. Taeyang studied him for a long moment. Then, he smiled. It was a sad, knowing smile. Humans. Such a young species. Still capable of compassion without calculation. We were like that once, before the war. You can be like that again, Hyun-woo said. You don't have to hide forever. We have no choice. The Galactic Consortium has laws against our existence. Any planet that harbors us faces sanctions. We are illegal simply by being alive. That's wrong, Ji-won said. Her voice was hard with anger. Your people. You have a right to exist. Rights only matter if someone enforces them, Taeyang said. And, we are too few to fight. Then, let humans fight for you, Daesung said. The words came out before he fully thought them through. But, once spoken, he realized he meant them. Everyone stared at him. What? Taeyang asked. Humans are new to the galactic community. We don't have much power yet, but, we're growing. And, we have something other species seem to lack. We're stubborn. We don't accept that things have to stay the way they are. Daesung stood up. Let me take your story back to human space. Let me tell people what happened to you. Some will be afraid. But, others will be angry. Angry enough to help. Why would you do this? Taeyang asked. You owe us nothing. Because it's right. Because genocide is wrong no matter who commits it. Because you deserve to live without fear. Daesung looked at his crew. We all deserve that. Hyun-woo nodded. Ji-won crossed her arms but didn't disagree. Hayrin was crying again. There's more we can offer you, Taeyong said slowly. Knowledge. Technology. The Velathri were guardians of ancient science before the war. We have things humans haven't discovered yet. Propulsion systems. Medical advances. Energy generation. We can share this. We don't need payment, Daesung said. It's not payment. It's alliance. Taeyong stood and extended his hand in a human gesture. Help us survive. We'll help humanity grow. Together we can be stronger than separate. Daesung shook his hand. The skin was cold but the grip was firm. Deal. Over the next few days, they made plans. Taeyong gave them data crystals containing Velathri technology. Heirin volunteered to come with them as an ambassador. Someone has to teach humans how to use that technology, she said. Besides, I like your crew. You're entertaining. Entertaining? Ji-won muttered. We nearly died. Exactly. Very entertaining. They prepared to leave. But, before they could launch, alarms blared through the facility. Ships approaching, someone shouted. Multiple contacts. Daesung ran to the surface with the others. Through the thin atmosphere, he could see ships dropping from orbit. Lots of ships. Military vessels bearing consortium markings. Somehow, they've been found. Boare, Heirin said grimly. She tracked us somehow. We need to evacuate, Taeyong said. There's no time, Daesung said. And, nowhere to go. They'll hunt you down. A broadcast came through on all frequencies. Boare's voice, cold and triumphant. Velathri Enclave, you are surrounded. Surrender immediately. Resistance will result in total extermination. Daesung looked at the Velathri gathering around him. Men, women, children. All afraid. All waiting to die. His mind raced. They couldn't fight. They couldn't run. But, maybe they didn't have to. Broadcast everything, he said suddenly. What? Hyun-woo asked. Everything. The Velathri history. Their genocide. This attack. Broadcast it through every channel to every human colony and ship in range. Let people see what's happening here. The consortium will jam the signal, Ji-won said. So we broadcast through their ships. Hijack their own communications. Heirin, can you do that? Yes. But, what will it accomplish? Humans hate bullies. Humans hate seeing innocent people threatened. Some won't care. But, some will. And, those who care will respond. Daesung grabbed a camera from the ship. Trust me. They set up the broadcast. Taeyong spoke about the genocide, about centuries of hiding, about children growing up afraid. Heirin showed her scars from stasis chambers and bounty hunters. Daesung testified as a human witnessing injustice. The message went out through consortium ships before they could stop it. It reached human colonies. Independent captains. News networks. Within hours, responses started coming back. A mining colony announced they would grant sanctuary to any Velathri who reached them. A group of human merchant captains formed a defensive perimeter around the ice moon. A human politician on Earth demanded the consortium explain why they were attempting extermination of a peaceful species. Boare's fleet hesitated. More human ships arrived. Not military, just civilians willing to stand between the consortium and the Velathri. It was a mess of different vessels, poorly organized, completely outgunned. But, there were hundreds of them. The consortium commander contacted Daesung directly. This is illegal interference in consortium enforcement actions. This is humans protecting people who asked for help, Daesung replied. You want to start a war over it? The commander was silent. Then, we are withdrawing pending further investigation. But, this is not over. Yes it is, Daesung said. The galaxy is watching now. You can't hide what you did anymore. The consortium fleet left. The human ship stayed, forming a protective ring. Over the following weeks, negotiations began. The Velathri were granted provisional refugee status on several human worlds. It wasn't perfect. Many humans were afraid. But, enough humans cared to make a difference. 6 months later, the Iron Crane cruised through space with a mixed crew. Heirin served as ambassador and chief technology officer. 2 young Velathri engineers worked with G1, teaching her their propulsion systems. The ship was faster now, more efficient, almost beautiful. Daesung sat in his captain's chair, reading reports. The Velathri alliance had been officially established. Humans and Velathri working together. Other species were watching with interest. Some with fear, some with hope. New contract offer, Hyunwoo said. He sounded amused. Another mystery job? Daesung asked. No. This one is legitimate. Escorting Velathri refugees to sanctuary worlds. Good pay, legal, and relatively safe. Relatively safe is the best we can hope for, G1 said from engineering. Daesung smiled. He thought about that original contract. The trap that had turned into the greatest opportunity of his life. He'd wanted to save his ship. Instead, he'd helped save an entire species. Accept the contract, he said. Let's go do some good. Heirin appeared in the doorway. Thank you, Captain. For everything. Thank you, Daesung replied. You showed us that being human isn't about being strong or smart. It's about choosing to do the right thing even when it's hard. Even when it's dangerous. That's what makes us special in this galaxy. Yes, Heirin agreed. That's exactly what makes you special. The galaxy is full of powerful species. But, very few have what you call humanity. The Velathri learned that lesson too late. Humans are learning it while you still have time to matter. The Iron Crane jumped to faster-than-light speed. Behind them, the ice moon where 47 survivors had hidden in fear was now a beacon of hope. Ahead of them were more Velathri to save, more allies to make, more impossible situations to survive through stubbornness and compassion. The reward had been a trap. But, the trap had opened doors to something far more valuable than money. It had given them purpose. It had given the Velathri hope. And, it had shown the galaxy that humans, despite being young and weak, were a force to be reckoned with. Not through weapons or technology. But, through the simple, powerful choice to care about someone different from themselves. To see a monster and recognize a person. To fight for what was right even when the odds were impossible. That was the human element. And, it changed everything.